أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. رضا بقضاء وتسليما لأمري. صلى الله عليك يا مولاي. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله. روحي وجسمي وأرواح العالمين لك الفداء يا غريب يا مظلوم يا شهيد بأرض كربلاء يا شهيد بأرض كربلاء. السلام على من نحره منهور والصدر مقصور وجسده بكي 3 أيام بأرض كربلاء بلا غسل بلا كفن بلا كافور. السلام عليك يا رسول الله. أحسن الله لك العزاء في ولدك الحسين. السلام عليك يا فاطمة. أحسن الله لك العزاء في ولدك الحسين. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين. أحسن الله لك العزاء في ولدك الحسين. السلام عليك يا أبا محمد الحسن. أحسن الله لك العزاء في أخيك الحسين. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمسابين بالحسين عليه السلام. Sending our salutation and our condolences to our living Imam. We have now reached the day of Ashura. Quran in Surah Al-Fajr, Allah says, Ya ayyuhatun nafsin mutmainna irji ila rabbika raziyatan marziya fadkhuli fi ibadi wadkhuli jannah. O soul that is tranquil, return to your Lord well pleased, and He is pleased with you. So enter amongst my servants and enter into my garden. How beautifully from far Allama Iqbal in some ash'ars for Imam Hussein towards Karbala in Farsi he says, Allah Allah bae bismillah padar maniye zibhe azim amad pasar. Bahre haq در خاک خو گلتیده است پس بنای لا اله الا گردیده است. ای صبا ای صبا ای پیکه دور افتخان اشک ما بر خاک ای پاکه ای او رسن. Oh Allah, how wonderful Father. Father is Abahe Bismillah and the son is Zibhal Azim. And then he goes and says he lies drenched in his own blood for saving the truth, haq. And that is why it is said he is the very foundation of La ilaha illallah. And then he turns to the breeze and says, "Oh breeze, oh wind, when you go towards Karbala, oh Azadar, bring this into your heart." What Allama Iqbal is saying, "Oh breeze, when you go towards Karbala, you are the messenger for me. May send the message that we are separated from the one who is lying on the sands of Karbala. Take our tears to the sacred dust where he rests." Oh, Azadarane Hussein, Muharram's 10th day, Ashura, the day when the martyrdom of Hussein happened. Just one or two hadiths and then I will go into the Masaib. This is not the day for wise. Our Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has narrated, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad, in many hadiths, even narrated by our Sunni brothers. The Holy Prophet was one day lovingly hugging Hussein, kissing the young Hussein, the little child. And as he was doing this, he was crying, tears rolling down his cheek. The wife of the Prophet asked, "Prophet, why are you crying? Is it the love of your grandchildren?" The Prophet said, "Yes, I love Hussein only not because he's my grandchildren, but it is what he will have to suffer to save Islam." And then he said, the one drop of tear for Hussein, genuinely, for the khulu with khulus is like one hajj. And the wife said, "One hajj for one tear." Rasulullah said, "No, not one hajj, 5 hajj." And wife again questioned, 5 hajj for one tear of Hussein? And Rasulullah said, "My wife, you do not understand the azma of Hussein. 70 hajjs can be equal to that one tear." How important it is to understand that love that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, the one who was Habib-e Khuda, how much he loved Hussein. One day sitting on the mimbar, he hears a child crying and his voice was like Hussein's. The Holy Prophet left the khutbah and went to hear what the child was, why the child was crying. Ashab said, oh Rasulullah, you are giving us khutbah." Rasulullah said, "I cannot bear to hear the cry of the child like the voice of Hussein." There are so many examples of ahadith. Indeed, if Holy Prophet says, "Ahabballahu ahabbal Hussein," if Allah wants to bestow ni'mat in you, something good for you, then He instills the love of Hussein in you. How the Holy Prophet was sitting in the mimbar, and mimbar Rasul, ashab all gathered, giving khutbah. Young Hussein starts walking in. The Holy Prophet comes, interrupts the khutbah, and comes down from the mimbar and says, "Bi abi wa ummi ya Hussein." Who is saying this? This is the Prophet himself saying, "My father and my mothers be sacrificed for you, O Hussein." And then he said, "Ahlan bika zayna samawati wal arz." Oh, the adornment of the worlds and the hereafter and the worlds and the heavens. Welcome, O Hussein. And he keeps Hussein in his lap and starts crying. We have heard in a very clear way how important the message of Hussein was. I gave you the first khutbah on the first day. Kharajtu li talabil islahi ummati. I have left to repair the damage that has been done to the ummah and the faith of Rasulullah. And today I want to finish off with a khutbah of Imam Hussein himself. Abu Abdullah, he is now covered with arrows. He is wounded, but he goes in front and gives a khutbah to the people, doing Hujjat Itmam. And what he said in this khutbah is what I want to narrate, because those are the words on the day of Ashura in Karbala by none other than Mawla Hussein. He reminded them that this battle was about truth, haq, and connecting with haq, and that we should revert to Tawakkal Allah. Then he warned, he said, "O people, do not get allured by this world. Do not be attached so much by this world, because this world is created for a finite period. It will end, and it is the akhirah. Use this world to prepare your akhirah." And then he said there are two types of people that will lose in the hereafter. They will be the losers. And he said, those who are immersed in the world, they forget what their purpose is. And then he said, because of two reasons. One is the greed. They want more and more out of this world. And then secondly, there's the fear of tyrant. Haven't we seen from Abul Fazl al-Abbas that courage, it doesn't matter who is in front. If it's haq and the truth, we should speak out. Then he gave who he was. He introduced. He says, don't you know that I am the grandson of the Prophet and the son of Ali and Fatimatul Zahra? Hamza and Ali were from us. And then he said, Prophet said, Husaynun minni wa ana min al-Husayn. Hussein is from me and I am from Hussein. And then he said, do you not remember the hadith of the Prophet that me and Hassan are the leaders of the youths of paradise? Then he addressed, he said, if you have any doubt in any of those statements and the hadiths that I gave, go and ask Jabir bin Ansari, go and ask Zayd ibn Arqam, go and ask Sa'id bin Khundri, and they will tell you. They were witnesses to this hadith. And then he said, oh, the forces of Yazid, you having killed my beloved Muslim ibn Aqil, are now trying that I should now bow down to Yazid. I am not afraid of death, should the death meet me or I meet the death. And then he said, Hayhat min zillah. Death is better. Death for the truth is better than dying and then giving in to zillah, to giving in to falsehood. Indeed, then he reminded them finally, look at our Mazloom Mawla, he reminds them. He says, did you not invite me? Did you not call me? Mehman bulakar daga dete ho. Didn't you call me as a messenger? Didn't you say that we do not have an imam, we need an imam? Now if you do not want me, let me go to a peaceful place with my family away. But the Yazid forces stood there. Don't you understand? And then finally in one of his sermons on the Ashura day, he looks at these people. He's giving them all this appeal. And he finds people are not moved. He says, how can your hearts and your mind be moved because your body is filled with haram, corrupt food and corruption that has brought you your wealth, that has filled your stomach? How can that let you hear the haqq and the truth? A message for us. Do we let haram enter our body? And does it stop us from hearing the truth? How important it is that we understand this message of Hussein, Rizallahi Rizana Ahlul Bayt. The pleasure of Allah is the pleasure of us, Ahlul Bayt. Azadarane Hussein, we move to the day of Ashura. Today is that day, the day in Karbala when Hussein is alone. As we approach the moment of Ashura in this Al-Hijrah 1442, let us reflect on Hussein's word. He says, if out of love of my Lord, my body were chopped into pieces, then O Suyuf, O swords, come down and chop me into pieces, for I will never bow down before anyone but Allah. Then he says, if the religion of Muhammad cannot survive without me being killed, O swords, come and make an end of me. Oh Hussein, today is the day of Ashura, extending our sincere condolences. Let us just imagine our living Imam He would be crying with blood on his face, tears of blood. He's alone, looking, thinking of his Jada Hussein and the sacrifices of Hussein. Let us think how our Imams and Sanabil Sayyida and Rasulullah have got their heads open, no Imam on the top. Why? Because Hussein was martyred today. All the Anbiyas are standing, looking at the martyrdom of Hussein and crying, Oh Mazloom Hussein! Ya Gharib Hussein! You are all alone in Karbala. Zadarane Hussein. How does our Imam cry for Hussein? He says, peace be upon the one when the angels and the sky wept. Peace be upon the one, the martyrs who are cut into pieces. And peace be upon those whose bodies were smeared in blood. Our living Imam cries, Ya Jadda, Bakka Sabhan wa Massa Badala Dumi Damma. Hussein, you showed us the beacon of light. The world was covered with might. You taught us how to stand up for virtue and right. Oh Allah, make us never lose that sight. We remember with sadness the suffering you had through no fault of yours. Your holy blood was shed. Little Ali Asghar was denied water till he was killed. Your blood covered the holy plains of Karbala red. Let us open our hearts to Karbala. Our Imam Abu Abdullah is all alone in the plains of Karbala. He looks around and he sees the body of his beloved Habib and his dear nephew Ono Muhammad. He looks at the body of Qasim trampled by horse. He looks at Hamshakle Payambar Ali Akbar's body. He looks towards the Furat and finds the body of Abbas lying near the Furat. And then he turns, Oh Habib, Oh Qasim, Oh Ali Akbar, where are you? Hussein is all alone. Then he turns to Abul Fazl Abbas, Oh my Alamdar, Oh my brother Abbas, where are you? Hussein is all alone. Our Mazloom Imam suffered so much on the day of Ashura. How many bodies did he carry? Imam Hussein then called out, tired and thirsty, heartbroken, he called out, Assalamu alayka, Ya Ukhti Zainab wa Umm Kulsum, wa Sukayna wa Ruqayya. Oh, ladies, I am leaving you, accept my final salams. Then Imam turned to Zainab. Oh Zainab, I am leaving you in charge of caravan. Take care of inheritor of Imamat, Imam Zainul Abidin. Ajjarallahu ujurakum. My dear sisters, my dear sister, Hussein says, look after Sakina. She has never been away from me. She used to sleep on my chest. She will cry a lot after my death. Please, my dear sister, when you get water, give it to Sakina. She hasn't asked for water since Uncle Abbas went to fetch water. Sister Zainab, enemies will take you prisoner in Kufa and Sham. This will be a very difficult time. Be brave, O Zainab, do sabr. Ya fi amanillah, my dear one, as he was about have to leave. Zainab, ya Zainab, Zainab, bring me that old shirt which is torn. Bring me that shirt. Imam wears that shirt underneath so that when the enemies come and take the shirts and abba away, Hussein's body is covered. And then Zainab says, Ya Hussein, oh boy, Ya Hussein, come forward. And then he said, bring me your neck. At that time, Hussein lowers his neck, Zainab kisses the neck and says, oh Hussein, Fatima the Zahra, our mother, told us that when Hussein comes for the last time, kiss his neck as he is now going to be slaughtered. Slaughtered without water. At that stage, Hussein says, Zainab, I have also one wish. Remove your cloth from your wrist. And Hussein kisses those wrists of Hussein and says, Zainab, Fatima to Zahra, Ma Fatima to Zahra said, mother said, kiss Zainab's wrist, she will be tied with a rope and she will be whipped. Slowly, Imam moves towards the tent of Imam Zainul Abidin. He lies unconscious. Abdullah sees his young son was sick, and the young son opens his eyes. He says, Father, you are alone. Where is my uncle Abbas? Aina Qasim? Aina Ali Akbar? Father, look at you. How many wounds have you got on your face and your body? Where is Abbas to help you? Hussein said, Hussein will Abidin, they have all left. They have left this world to save Islam. Hussein will Abidin, you have to carry the message of Ahlul Bayt when you reach Medina. Hussein had this special message towards them. He says, when you reach Medina, Husainul Abidin, give love to Sughra. Tell her, Sughra, Fatima Sughra, your father remembered you at the last moment. And then he said, Imam remembers us Shias. Oh Zainul Abidin, tell my Shias to remember my thirst. And whenever they drink cold water, remember the thirst of Abu Abdullah and Ali Asghar. Oh, our Gharib Imam, leaving all those he loved behind. Imam mounts his horse Zul-Janah and asks him to go forward towards the battlefield. But Zul-Janah, after a few steps, stops. Hussein says, Oh, Aspeba Wafa, oh faithful horse, you have looked after me, you have served me so much, let me go to my final destination. Zul-Janah has got tears in eyes and he makes signal with his face down there. Imam looks and looks at the hooves of Zul-Janah. There is Sakina holding on and saying, Oh Zul-Janah, do not take my father. Whoever has gone towards the Maidan, they have all not come back. Zul-Janah, let me see my father for the last time. Little Sakina was crying. Hussein said, Oh Azadarane Hussein, look at these final words between Hussein and Sakina. Hussein says, Oh Sakina, do not cry. Have you not given me permission to go? Haven't you given me permission to give my life for Islam and save Islam? Sakina says, Oh Baba, oh my father, for the last minute, let me sleep on your chest. I will never be able to see the coolness of your chest. Sakina sleeps on the chest and suddenly gets up and says, Fi amanillah, Baba, my grandmother father has come and said, do not stop Hussein, let him go. Hussein mounts this horse and goes thirsty, wounded and heartbroken. And our Imam is the son of Asadullah. Our Imam is the son of the bravest of the brave. He himself was one of the bravest warriors. He came and he attacked, though he was thirsty and hungry. He attacked the enemy from all sides, and it was like a lion who had gone on people. They were running from one end to another. Hundreds were killed in this attack by Imam. At that stage, a shower of arrows came towards Hussein. Spears were thrown at Hussein from all sides. People were hitting him with stones and swords. And then Jibreel appeared. Oh Hussein, Allah is pleased with you, O bravery. The moment has come to save Islam and give you a life. Hussein looks at the sky. It is the time of Asr. Hussein whispers to Zul-Janah, one final wish. Take me to the place where my mother Fatima Zahra awaits me. Oh, my faithful horse, but as you go past, let me have a last look at my Ali Akbar. Our Muslim Imam is covered with arrows, blood gushing out, hundreds of swords cut into him. Hussein fell, imagine falling on the land of Karbala. He falls in the land of Karbala. He could not stay anymore on Zul-Janah. But Azadar, I said he fell on the land of Karbala. But the land of Karbala did not see Hussein's body. There were so many arrows that the arrows took all the body of Hussein. Arrows became the holders of the body of Hussein. At that even stage, wounded, tired, in the last moments of his life, our Mawla performs his final sajda on the Musalla of arrow. But Azadarane Hussein, what can I say about the last sajda? Somebody is moving towards our Imam. Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Hussein is in sajda. Shimr Maloon is coming with a dagger. He mounts Hussein's chest. Zadarane Hussein, Hussein is slaughtered with a dagger. How many blows that Shimr used on Hussein's neck, on the right neck. The earth of Karbala and the earth trembled. The sky turned black. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. The sacred word of Haqq has been finished today, has been cut off. Hussein lies in the lap of Fatima Zahra. Hussein is in the lap of Fatima Zahra. Shimr severes his head, and the words were heard. Allah qad qutila al-Hussein bi Karbala. Allah Zubi al-Hussein bi Karbala. Imagine the state of Zainul Abidin. Imagine the state of Zainab from Tal Zainabiyah. Imagine the state of Sukaina, hearing the announcement in the skies that her beloved father had been killed. Sakina fell on the ground. Zainab rushed to the fourth Imam. He lifts the tent up and he sees the head of Hussein mounted on the lace, and he cries in the trembling voice, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya ibn Rasulillah. Oh, the accursed soldiers of Yazid army trampled the body of Hussein with the hooves of horses and then ran towards the tents of Hussein with fire. Oh Abbas! Oh Akbar! Where are you? Zainab's rida is being pulled. Oh Abbas! Sakina is being slapped. Where are you, Abbas? ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. يا الله يا الله بحق شهداء كربلاء بحق أبا عبد الله الحسين بحق السكينة بحق أون محمد وأكبر وعباس وقاسم. Ya Allah, grant our wishes, remove difficulties from us, make us die the death of Hussein and make us live the life of Hussein. Ya Allah, make us die with the haqq in our mind, with attachment to haqq. Ya Allah, make us remember the message of haqq and the message of Hussein in its khutbah. Ya Allah, remove the difficulties of mu'mineen everywhere, and Ya Allah, send our condolences to our Waliul Hasan Hujjat ibn al-Hasan. He's alone, crying for Hussein. Send our message of condolences to our living Imam and hasten his reappearance. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.